Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
All right, 27 minutes before 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this morning. I don't know how many of you know this, but today, January 27th, is International Holocaust Remembrance Day. There was a story in the news this morning, and I believe it's actually a developing story. There's an historian named Randolph L. Braham. He said yesterday that he was returning a high state award to the nation of Hungary in order to protest what he says are government efforts to rewrite history and exonerate the country from its role in the Holocaust. And of course, they played a role in the Holocaust. And I think the follow-up story was that they are, in fact, confirming what we all know, that Hungary played a role. It is such a time in our history that, the further we go ahead in time, the more likely it is that you're not going to run into somebody who actually went through that horrible thing. And the fact that I might misspeak here, but I believe it was President Eisenhower who was it President Eisenhower or General Eisenhower who ordered photographs taken so that we never forget these stories. Marty Brounstein is on the phone. I hope I'm saying his name correctly. He is an historian, an educator, a best-selling author. His book is called Two Among the Righteous Few. It's a story of courage in the Holocaust, the courageous acts of Franz and Mian Wijnecker, which I'm probably saying wrong, who were recognized as righteous among the nationals at Yad Vashem, the Holocaust Memorial Museum in Israel. And I apologize in advance if any of that was pronounced wrong. Marty Brounstein, I hope I'm saying everything right here. I'm sure I'm getting a lot of it wrong. Good morning, Marty.
That one you got right. Yes, good morning. You got the name right the first time.
Okay, all right. And
it's Franz and Mian Wijnecker.
Okay.
They're the people I get to represent. I'm a humble messenger for two heroes.
Okay.
Pretty neat stuff.
I would have never guessed that was the pronunciation, Wijnecker. Okay. Are they still with us?
No. I never met them directly. I met their children, who were definitely helpful in putting this story together. But they were, at the time, a young married Dutch couple, Christian couple, who, when most won't get involved, they will, and they're going to save the lives of over 24 Jews from certain death.
Oh, wow. And where were they living at the time?
They were living in southeastern Netherlands, kind of a small-town area about 2 hours east of Amsterdam.
And one of the lives they saved is very close to you.
Yes. I always tell audiences when I do my storytelling presentations that I have a very meaningful personal connection to this story and its heroes. We always say that to the end, so now Robin's wanting me to reveal my
Okay, we don't have to.
I'll be happy to, because this relates to how I kind of stumbled into this story. But they started with 3 children that they took in, and things continued to grow. And then the first adults that they took in, hiding in their home, was a young married couple, similar in age. And when the wife arrived, it turns out she's already pregnant, which is a near impossible situation to deal with under the brutal Nazi occupation that they were going through. So, in short, they performed a miracle and they got that baby born. And as of March, it'll be 7 years of being wedded to that baby.
Wow, congratulations.
Wait, I'm confused.
She's your bride.
Oh, you?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
That's my personal connection. I married that baby.
Oh, wow. How, you don't sound that old. How old are you? Really?
No, she's older than me. But if you saw her, as I tell her, most people think she's now younger than me. She's got more energy than anybody. It's amazing. So I'm lucky. I barely keep up.
Wow.
We Robin had a follow-up story on this guy in North Korea who just now executed all the people that were connected somehow to his uncle. And it's like, this is another nut that has control. Why do we let these guys even stick around another minute? Why? As long as we know what anybody like a Hitler can do. Why don't we just put him in a room someplace and say, here's a few toys. Thank you very much. We don't need you anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. You wish it was that easy. Unfortunately, it's not. It's even harder like in North Korea when you have oppression within a country that's isolated from the world. during the Holocaust, there was much more opportunity to help, but there wasn't the willingness to do it. Let's go win the war was the main strategy of the Allied forces. And so they pretty much ignored what was happening until the liberation finally came. So what Franz and Mien Weinacher did and others like them who earned the honor of Righteous Among the Nations, it's so remarkable and unusual because bystanders and collaborators were far more in number than actually people who would help.
Yeah.
How do they manage to help all those people and not get caught?
Yeah, good question. Good fortune was one factor. That what also helped is they lived in a small town area. And so while they were the subject of a lot of gossip, as is common in small towns, because in that time period people didn't travel much. So if anybody from outside that area came into town, you came on the train, you just acted and looked different. And they were always then quiet and loyal to their neighbor, even if they were gossiping behind their back. So they were lucky that there weren't many what was called NSBers, Dutch Nazis, in their area. And the German presence doesn't start to show up until well into 44, in the last year or so of the war. So through a lot of good fortune, they were lucky that nobody got caught, which is pretty amazing because sometimes people got involved, did get caught.
Oh man, when we learned about Anne Frank and the writings that she left behind, and we of course learned that none of them made it, none of them survived. I mean, it must have been
Other than her father. Yeah.
It must have been like that all the time. Right?
Oh, yeah, and what was the problem for the Franks and others like them is they tried to stay hiding in the cities. Well, the Dutch Nazi and the German Nazi presence was the greatest. The cities were pretty much locked down. So your chances of surviving and hiding were not strong. And the Nazis were willing to pay people. So it was a great way to make a little extra money in these hard times. Is just you see something suspicious, which is likely what happened to the Franks, just call the authorities. And if they sure enough find that they're hiding Jews, you get a bonus.
See, that's the part I don't understand. That's the part I don't understand. Why I would never... I could be a Nazi soldier. Maybe I'd be forced to. We'll kill your family if you don't sign up. Okay, I'll be your soldier. But I am not going to kill somebody just because you tell me to. I just don't even understand how that happens.
Yes, it's an amazing mentality, but
it does.
It's a time of survival. So people will do what they can to survive, and caring for other people was not high on the list.
Since you instruct people about the Holocaust and you share your amazing stories, have you ever been approached by people who don't believe the Holocaust happened? Because we've had that. We've had people call up and say,
we've had our
it's
share.
not happened. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I get asked that by audiences. I'm now 226 events in 2 1/3 years. Occasionally I get asked by audiences, have you run into Holocaust deniers? And luckily they're not coming to my presentations. I wouldn't want to deal with it. It's like, go away. Let's deal with reality. And the neat thing in my story that people comment about is they often say, I didn't realize there was any positive stories in this horrific tragedy. So I've got one. That's part of what inspires people when they hear this story.
Yeah. In the museum in Israel, the Holocaust Memorial Museum.
Yes.
How do you pronounce that? The national site?
Yad Vashem.
Yad Vashem. Is Oskar Schindler one of them?
Yes. He is one of the first to get that honor of Righteous Among the Nations. So Franz and Mien Weinacher are 2 Oskar Schindlers. Pretty amazing.
Wow, that is amazing. And did they have to spend money in order to be able to do what they did? I got the part of the movie, and I only know this from the movie. Oskar Schindler obviously was trading in his gold or whatever for ransom for some of these people, right?
Yeah, I mean, Schindler was doing whatever he could to pull people into his little factory and using his own expenses to keep them employed and not taken away by the Nazis. And so in the end, he's pretty broke. For Franz and Mien, they had help in terms of the resistance group. There was one resistance group in the Netherlands that helped people hide. Far more non-Jews they were helping hide than Jews, but they had some money. So they were funding Franz and Mien because they would actually place people in other people's homes, too, because they couldn't fit them all in their own home. And so he was like a broker, getting people placed, but it was full of hassles and dangers.
And what is your wife's name?
Leah Bars.
Leah, what are her stories from early in life? Obviously, by the time she was old enough to be aware, that this was all history already. But was it was the family still struggling because of everything that happened when she was a young girl?
After the war, life goes on. Her family goes on to Amsterdam for a few years, and then they go to Eindhoven the city in the south of the country where her dad worked for Phillips, until they immigrated to the U.S. when she was about 14. They came to Los Angeles. But as a small, as a kid growing up in the Netherlands before they left, in the summers they would go back and visit the Weinackers. There's 5 children. So she knew them as kids. And then, when summer of '84, she actually flew back to the Netherlands because the honor now had come from Yad Vashem that Franz Weinacker was righteous among the nations. Unfortunately, me and his wife had passed away. So she went back to this little small town area because they put on a parade. They said, "Oh, my goodness, we have a hero." And so she came from San Francisco to be part of it. And then 25 years go by, you lose touch. And then on this accidental trip to the Netherlands in May of 2009, we stumble into the Weinacker family, some serendipity, and one thing led to another, and here's the story that I get to be the messenger for.
Oh, wow. That is a cool story in and of itself.
Yes,
Yeah.
Is that part of what you wrote in the book? I mean, do you let us in on that part? Okay.
Chapter 1, I end up writing a letter to my wife's 2 daughters, because I wanted them to know about this stumbling into accident experience. While I knew of my wife's beginnings, if the Weinacker name was ever mentioned to me prior, it didn't stick. But when we were having this accidental, we actually find the Weinacker home, and one of the sons actually lives in the house today. And we got directions there from a tourist information office, and they knew who Franz Weinacker was. And then when we get to the home, and Franz Jr. is the one who lives in the home, he's so excited to see my wife, who they know more as her Dutch nickname, Ineke. When he goes in the house, and he pulls out a blown-up picture of the memorial plaque from the Avenue of the Righteous, for that's the honor of righteous among the nations. Well, I knew what that meant, and that just blew me away, because you don't get that for just showing up.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
That is so amazing.
Wow.
So you knew something significant happened here.
So tell me
which
about...
I never fully realized that.
Marty Brounstein is our guest, and his book is... I don't have it, but I've got lots of interest in it. The book is called Two Among the Righteous Few, a story of courage in the Holocaust, the courageous acts of Franz and Mien Weinacker. Did I say that right this time?
Correct. Yeah.
Recognized as the righteous among the nationals at the Yad Vashem. Little by little, I get this. The Holocaust Memorial Museum in Israel. Oh my goodness, I have to remember what I was going to ask you now. So when you are... Well, tell me about you, is what I wanted to know, Marty. You're writing this book, but you've been an historian, so this is almost fell into the perfect lab. This story came to the perfect person to tell it.
Well, I don't know about that part, but I've for over 20 years, I've run a management and organizational consulting business and done books through that, coaching and mentoring for dummies, communicating effectively for dummies. So This is very different, very different. In my early life, I was a history teacher. So obviously this takes me back to that. But much to my wife's chagrin, this now has taken over our life, because it's now, we're nearly 2.5 years into the journey of sharing the story. I'm down here right now, which is not my home base, the Phoenix area. We're doing about a dozen talks here, and future trips going to the Chicago area in the spring, and we'll be out to New York next fall. So we've taken it to other cities sometimes, because it's the most unusual thing I've ever done. Audiences keep telling us, you got to keep telling the story. So I always say in baseball language, I'm batting 1,000 with audience response.
While the children were growing up, your wife included, in the house, did they know these horrendous acts were taking place, or did the parents conceal that from them?
In terms of the Weinacker children?
Yes.
Good question. My wife wasn't, after the war, my wife goes on, and she's just a baby anyway. So she would just see them in the summer. How much what they understood, because obviously they got information that they helped us with. I don't know that they fully understood when they were all little kids, 5 and under.
Okay.
They understood something was going on in their house. And later, of course, they understand what their parents did, and they're very proud of their parents. So the need for us, too, is that we have been back twice since this accidental visit. We've done some trips to Europe, and both times we've come back into the Netherlands. And Nellie, who's the oldest of the 5 siblings, was our point person for the book. Each time she's invited us to stay with her. So for my wife, it's been a great reunion with the family. It's one of the pictures we have in the book, the initial reunion, but ever since, we stay in touch, and they welcome us when we come back. So they're very pleased with the book. So we were fortunate, and we were also able. One of the people that helped us with the book was the first person that they took into hiding, who is now a woman of 85 years old.
Oh, really?
In Israel.
Oh, my
Yes.
goodness. Oh, wow. So the people that they helped never had the experience of the concentration camp survivors. They were spared that, thank goodness.
They were spared that, yeah. So they were basically in hiding, which was not easy in itself. And you're certainly living under the edge of all that there was. The Nazis didn't give tickets and warnings. You're caught, you're gone.
Oh, gee.
Wow.
So when since you've been back twice now, and we hear about the way that religion is sort of on a downhill trend right now, like churches and synagogues and other places of worship are starting to close. Is that true in that area as well?
Yeah, the role in the church in people's lives, in Western Europe, much less today than it was in this era. In the 30s and the 40s, and it will turn out to be one of the big phones for Franz in his work of trying to help Jews, was the local parish priest. He's the big authority figure of the whole area. He's not pleased when he finds out what's going on. But in today's world, in Western Europe, a lot of people, the church membership is way down. The Catholic Church in Europe is very worried. The membership is growing in other continents, but not in Europe.
And it's ironic, isn't it? That some people will say it is religion that causes a lot of wars, and some people will say it is the religious, not religion, but it is those who believe in God that actually prevent it. It's kind of an irony, and it's hard to really understand people's thinking. I went to your website, martyaBrounstein.com.
Yes.
I still don't think you're 70. I don't think your wife is 70. You both look wonderful.
Neither of us are. She's going to get there before I do. Actually, she passed me by. She got younger than me. The movie Benjamin Button, we kid her, she's Baby Button. She keeps getting younger as I get older.
Oh, gosh.
So the book is out already a couple of years. This is not a new book.
Right.
Oh,
it's been on, and I never expected I would be on this journey with it. 226 events later. I just had one this Saturday at a library here in Scottsdale, Arizona. Wonderful turnout. So that's what keeps it going. The audiences keep encouraging me. We even get people sometimes asking, "You ever thought about getting this made into a movie?" And so there is some initial work.
I can see that too. Yeah.
I say, if you know a good producer, send them our way.
Robin and I have had the honor in the course of years of doing this of having at least one Holocaust survivor. I remember a lady showing us her tattoo, concentration camp survivor, and then we had a rabbi who used to come in. He has since passed, and his parents, right? They were both concentration camp survivors.
Yes.
And Robin and I, we are born and raised in America and Christian by faith, but we do music, and we've been invited a couple of times to participate in at least a couple of Holocaust things here in our town.
Yes.
And there was even one in Miami.
Right.
That we participated in.
Right.
Any plans for you to come to this state to make your speeches?
Possibly, not hard and fast at the moment, but I've had a couple of contacts of people just through the website who were in Florida and said, "Well, if you ever come out here, we would host an event for you." So we haven't organized that yet.
When you host
in due time. So if I come to Orlando, I hope I can call upon you.
Yeah,
yeah.
You're welcome to come in here. We do our broadcast from the local mall, so
wow.
That way, if people want to come, meet you or whatever, it's easy to find us.
When you do these events, do you have young people coming like age 20 to 30, or are they all older that remember what it was like?
Well, because I'm in so many different venues, I've hit all ages. So schools, I've been in churches, have been among our best audiences. Occasionally I've been able to get a church and synagogue to co-sponsor an event. I was at the library on Saturday, bookstores. I've had people throw parties in their home for me. So it's been a variety of different things, various social organizations, service groups. So it's been a vast audience. The library one I just had, which was a public event, more of the crowd was, I'll say, over 50 than under 50, but there were a few kids in there. So we're touching all ages with this. That's what's been neat.
And do you think that people are really getting fearful that there could be a recurrence of this because of the unrest, not just across the country, not just across the world, but because of the unrest in American politics?
No, I don't pick that up, that people are worried that something could go extreme in this country. Thank goodness. Yeah, we do have extremists at times, but luckily they're not running the place. And that's what you see in anywhere. The fundamentalist extremists create the problems. But I more get what's been neat about this. I get how people respond so positively to this story. They're inspired. The lessons it teaches us today. I've even done this story in workplaces sometimes, and we'll even do an ethics discussion. What lessons of ethics can you take away from this story and apply in your work life, let alone personal life today? And we get some rich discussion out of that.
See, and that's what I think this does for people. It shows, it illustrates some real people who really gave something really substantial by being the way they are and having the ethics that they have, and
exactly.
And up against the biggest monster of their day. And so whatever monsters we have or our friends have, we need to be there for those friends.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I noticed my first time to the Netherlands, which was on this trip, that you don't see in the United States, the war wasn't fought on our soil here. The war was fought throughout all of Europe, and so the destruction was tremendous. And so you see memorials to the war, World War II, the Holocaust, throughout the Netherlands, which that just struck me. When we arrived in Amsterdam, and we missed what's called Remembrance Day by 3 days, which is equivalent to our Memorial Day in name only, because there is a very emotional holiday. And you would have thought we were still there for that, because people were still there in Dam Square, the major square of the city, makeshift memorials, flowers, people of all ages.
Really?
Yeah, which obviously in this country, while we lost a lot of soldiers, over 400,000 in World War II, we don't have civilian casualties. It wasn't fought on our soil. It's so different, and that makes what they did even more remarkable and unusual, because in the Netherlands, the occupation was the worst of all of Western Europe. It lasted 5 miserable years.
Yeah, and the appreciation that they seem to continue to express toward the contribution of the Allies, America especially, I guess it's fair to say that, is something we've seen also. We had a story about a paratrooper in France whose parachute got stuck on the steeple of a church. And that town to this day still has a mannequin hanging there to represent, because the Nazis had taken over, and basically the Allies jumping in at that time liberated that town, and they've never forgotten it.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm very appreciative.
Does your wife or the other people that you have spoken to gather all the information for the book, do they have nightmares sometimes? I know she was really young.
Wife. Yeah, I can speak to my wife. Well, interesting, she has no memories of this because she was just a baby. She grew up with the Holocaust because of her parents. Her father never talked about it, but her mother lamented about it. It was emotional trauma because they lost most of their family. Her mother was one of 5. She's the only survivor among her siblings. Her father was one of 3, the only survivor among his siblings.
Oh, wow.
And so this doesn't happen without my wife. She's been a great supporter and a great trooper through this whole thing, but hearing me do this presentations that makes her think about the Holocaust, she'd rather not. But seeing the value of what I'm doing, she's been so supportive to say, yes, keep going. And we always save her to the end. We end with the kind of my personal connection and what happened. We tell the story briefly of the huge dilemma of this young married couple who was pregnant, and what could they do about this? And then we finish it with the question, whatever happened to that baby?
Yeah, right. Oh, wow. Yeah, and we did it backwards here on this show.
Oh,
so
it gives me chills, though, still hearing you say that.
And gosh, I hope you don't think I'm a nut or something, but sometimes you wonder when you hear stories like this, if there wasn't some kind of, input from those who've passed, and they went to you and they said, look, you're very good at communicating. You're the author of Communicating for Dummies.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you're interested in history. You've got a grasp of this, and you happen to be married to somebody that really, so it's almost like they said, why don't we get this to come together so that there can be a book about this and a campaign, more or less. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, to what you're saying, Larry, we do occasionally, people in audiences say, God meant for you to do this. Fate brought you here for this. Keep doing what you're doing. So that encouragement has been very nice. That's what keeps it. It's the hardest thing I've ever done, trying to organize these speaking events and get the opportunities, because I run into a lot of indifference, too. It's been a neat journey in human character. You get some people who care and support, and that's what this story is about, too. Yeah, I can contact a synagogue, a church, some other places, and you can't get the time of day and a return phone call if your life depended on it.
Can you...
very interesting.
Can our listeners, if we have somebody here, maybe they're with a church or a synagogue or a civic group or something, and they're interested in having you speak, I know right now you have no plans to come here, but how would they get a hold of you, or do you want to give out that information? Or?
Yes, I mean, I'll give my phone number.
Okay.
I don't mind if somebody called. Area code 650-341-8001. And we also, people sometimes go on the website and they'll do an inquiry, and I respond to all messages. So, yes, if they were interested, and obviously if they paid for me to come out, I always just say I have one coming up, a speaking engagement I'm doing for a conference in Southern California, and I always say the requirement is 2 airfares, because I bring the baby along.
Yeah.
Well,
but if somebody said, yes, come to Florida, and we'll pay for you to be here and tell your story, I'm told I'm a pretty good storyteller, and I always say I have a great story to tell.
You do.
So I'm lucky. I'm lucky.
And this is going to sound really corny, but on behalf of the fellow humans that I'm a part of this race, I really, and that sounded really corny, but I really think that when somebody puts together a story like this and tells it well, as you have done, that it really reminds us of something we never should forget. I hope that the things that we should never forget are always put before us, so that we always remember them. This is one of those things we don't ever want to forget, and we want to stop these guys who kill their uncles and people they think don't deserve to live, which is what Hitler was about, right?
Yes.
Marty.
Okay, if I can just add real quickly to what you're saying, Larry. What's been neat, especially in schools, when I get progressive teachers, they love the messages the story teaches. Battle indifference. Show you can care. Show you can help other people. They love that their students are getting those messages even more than the dark chapters of the Holocaust. So that's been a fascinating book.
Yeah, definitely. I love that. Battle indifference.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
cool.
I love that. Marty Brounstein, I loved this conversation. Thank you for being on the air with us. How do we get the book?
Well, you through my website, you can order it, or through Amazon.com. Those are the 2 easiest ways to do it.
Okay, and let me just repeat the title of the book. It's Two Among the Righteous Few. The website for Marty is martyaBrounstein.com, and Brounstein is Brounstein. And Robin actually makes it real easy. Just go to WOCA.com, go to our guest list for today. You'll see Marty's name and that website printed right there.
Fantastic.
Marty, great stuff. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to talk to us.
Thank you, Larry and Robin. Thank you so much.
All right, we will take a break and be right back.
You're listening to WOCA News Talk 1370, Ocala's source for what's happening in today's hottest, up-to-date news and topics.
Phoenix Promotional Solutions, your company supplier of banners, digital decals, yard signs, and magnetic signs. Where you give them approved artwork by noon, the next day by 4 p.m., you pick up your banners, digital decals, yard signs, and magnetic signs. Phoenix Promotional Solutions, 368-2404. That's 368-2404. Don't forget, they do vehicle wraps also. Phoenix Promotional Solutions, 368-2404.
How good does it get?
Golf has long been considered to be sport's most prestigious game, and WOCA has your connection to everything in the golf world. Every first and third Thursday at 10 a.m., tune in for Let's Talk Golf with your host, PGA professional and teacher to the stars, Jim Beckett, and operations manager for the Links of Spruce Creek South, Darren Irwin, right here on The Source.
Hi, I'm Yvette, and I'm here to tell you a few things about ABC Frederick's Appliance. They sell not only new, but used guaranteed appliances. When you call ABC Frederick's Appliance, they will provide service on what they sell and any appliances that you own. ABC Frederick's Appliance is located in Bellevue, right over the railroad tracks. Call 352-629-5181. That's 352-629-5181. That's 352-629-5181. ABC Frederick's Appliance.
Hi, I'm Leah Caruso with Strive Rehabilitation, inviting you to join me Thursday at 11 a.m. for Health Matters. Ocala Health and Strive have teamed up to bring you the latest information on good health services available to you right here at home. This vital information will help you make informed decisions about your health. So don't forget to join me here at 11 a.m. Thursday. It's news you can use from Ocala Health, Strive, and your friends here at WOCA.
Hi, Robin. You look tired.
I am. I've been running all over town.
Why? Why not drive?
I need to get the stupid document notarized.
Well, that's easy. You need personal service.
Duh. That's what I've been looking for.
You need to go see Mark at the Personal Service Center. He can notarize that for you, make copies, fax it wherever, or send it out in the mail. Heck, he can even scan it and email it for you.
Really? Where is he at?
2375 Northeast 25th Avenue, on the corner of Northeast 25th Avenue and 24th Street. You can call him at 789-6683.
Personal Service Center. Thanks, Larry.
Greetings, good citizens. Join me, Duke of York, and Margaret of Anjou at the 28th Annual Hogtown Medieval Fair, January 25th and 26th, and January 31st through February 2nd at the Alachua County Fairgrounds.
Join the colourful cast of characters on the streets of Hogtown, where you'll find medieval merriment for the whole family.
Cheer on royal knights as they joust for the ladies' honour, watch a living chess match, or enjoy performances by gypsy dancers and magicians.
Then wander through the marketplace, where hundreds of artisans sell their medieval wares.
Come one, come all to the Hogtown Medieval Fair.
We're not just the horse capital of the world. Ocala Marion County is now the hoops capital, too, thanks to the 2013 national champion CF Patriots basketball team. The McDonald All-State Agency brings you the reigning kings of the court all season long right here on WOCA. Coach Tim Ryan and the Patriots look to defend their national crown and get set to host the state tournament this coming spring. The McDonald All-State Agency brings you CF basketball only on WOCA, The Source.
Your home is safe, or is it? AA Lock, Dock, and Security. The name has been a staple in Ocala since 1985. Do you have the right equipment in place to have peace of mind when you are at home or away? AA Lock, Dock, and Security has the right people to install and monitor your home or business. Call today for a free